fundamentally broken about UK estate agency scene?
I don't have an issue with your model or the way we do things. What I'm against is mediocre. It can't be. You go into a race to the bottom and it's just not what we're about.
I don't think that self-employment is for everyone.
Bar for entry nowadays is just so low. 50% of the houses they put on the market do not sell.
You do not need to be having a high street office. Brand awareness is the social media side. So I always say to agents, this is your shop front.
Does it get the customer the best price for the house? Absolutely not.
If you're in between either of these places,
You fucked.
so good or bad recruitment can either scale or destroy your agency business. Are you wasting hours on CVs, bad interviews, and paying huge recruitment fees? If so, there's a smarter way. Inside Talent is the Netflix of estate agency recruitment. They hire, train, and retain all under your brand for one simple monthly fee. So, podcast listeners, you're going to love this. Look out and make sure you lock this down. It's 10% off their yearly subscription when you contact the team at Inside Talent and quote #Showdown. Now, you need to check them out, don't you? www.insidetalent.com. Inside Talent, smarter hiring made simple. Welcome to Estate Agent Showdown. Now, on this episode, I am absolutely privileged to be joined by the wonderful, I did say wonderful, brilliantly talented, which you did tell me to write, Alice Bullard.
They were on my terms and conditions.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Alice Bullard, the CEO of Nested, and the incredibly inspiring Steve Beercock, Exec Director of Beercock's Estate Agents up north. Is that right?
Just about north of the wall.
Just north of the wall. So what I like to do now is actually get a little bit of a bio for the listeners, just so they've got a bit of a synopsis as to who you are, what you've done, what you do. We don't need to go on forever. We like to keep it nice and sweet, short and sweet. So who wants to kick us off first?
I can go first.
Go for it.
So yeah, my name is Alice Bullard. I'm CEO at Nested. Been at Nested almost 8 years now, which is insane. It's gone so quickly. Previously to Nested, I was assistant branch manager at a local John D. Wood branch down in Islington in London. So I kind of came from the corporate world to startup world. Loved the startup world. Loved estate agency, so I knew I wanted to stay in it. Just really fortunate to have found a company that I loved being a part of. So now I'm running the company. We're a self-employed model now. We've pivoted along the way. Maybe we'll chat about that a bit later.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's a bit about me.
Fantastic. Thank you. Welcome, Steve.
Right, so I'm Steve Beercock. I've been in the business now for 28 years.
Yeah.
I've seen through all different parts of it. I started when I was 17 years old in the business.
Wow.
And I worked my way up and now running the business with my other family members. There's still my dad who's 70 years old, my stepmom in the business and me. All of our family members, whether it's siblings, have all had a part in the business. But now running the business now, it's the three of us. We're now 2.5 times the size of our nearest competitor. We have great conversions, and it's all about getting the customer the best price we can get them.
Love that. I love that. Well, look, my opening question really is, what's fundamentally broken about the UK estate agency scene or industry, and why do your models fix it?
Oh, it's such a big question.
That's
Straight in.
big.
And
Let's
that is
go.
big.
Let's
Big
go.
and bold to
And
begin
you're
with.
going
Yeah,
first,
Oh,
Alice.
great.
With baby brain.
With baby brain.
Absolutely.
I was just saying to Matt, like, that's my excuse at the moment. I've had baby brain seemingly my whole life, but like, I just get to use that as an excuse for the time being. What is broken? I think there's not one answer, but I think the big one for me is the incentives that estate agents have within the industry. I think that there are some corporates, there are some estate agents, different types of models that are not set up correctly to incentivize the best behavior. And I think that really can really impact our industry and the perception of our industry. I love to think, and I really do believe that the model that we've got at Nested really changes that, because it basically strips away all of the KPIs that quite a lot of these corporates and other agents really hammer, and just really focuses on like the bottom line, like getting the customer moved and getting them for the best price. And with the type of model that Nested has and is, and there are other obviously models out there that are similar.
Not as good as yours though, right?
No, I'm a bit biased, but there are other models out there that are obviously very similar to ours. It really does focus on the bottom line and incentivize the agents on the right thing, and it empowers them as well. And I think we've got some extremely smart, intelligent people. We have for like generations had smart people in this role and within a state agency, and like the self-employed model just really empowers people who wouldn't financially be able to start up their own business. It empowers them to now go and do it. So that's the big one for me. That's where I think it's broken. It's just misalignment between what is right for the customer and like the financial goals of companies and the incentives behind them.
Okay, that's really interesting. And what about yourself, Steve?
I just think the bar for entry nowadays is just so low, and I think because a lot of people complain about Rightmove, but the problem is with Rightmove is anyone can get a Rightmove account and whack a house on Rightmove, and that's it for me. The problem is if you put a house on Rightmove at too much money, you get no interest, you drop the price, and if you drop the price, you get this big fat reduced badge on it. Equally, you could underprice the house when you put it to Rightmove, and you have a bun fight, and you get the asking price on day one, and you sat there thinking, you know, you could have got the customer more, or the customer's thinking they could have got more. So I'm not against, I don't have an issue with your model or the way we do things. What I'm against is mediocre. Yeah. These sort of stick it online and wait for the buyers to come along sort of process. And I don't think it's best for the customer. And years ago, when the data became available at how estate agents performed, I was down there with everybody else is achieving the customer on average 4% less than what the house was on the market for, you know, and that's leaving money on the table. So I'm not against different models. I'm against mediocre. So what we started, when the data became available on estate agents, that's when we started to develop our model to a more beneficial one that doesn't leave money on the table for the customer, you know?
You was telling me before we got on to the podcast today about the pivot that you made just before COVID or around COVID, from where you were spending a lot of money running a lot of branches in a traditional format to sort of making some swift changes. What was it you did and why?
Well, we sat there and started to look, and the numbers just weren't stacking up. It was a case of who can put you on Rightmove the cheapest. Well, he's putting you on Rightmove. There was a bit of a hangover from the whole purple brick side of things as well, where it's just whack it on Rightmove and who could be the nicest to the customer. And it was all a case of just, well, he's putting me on Rightmove, he's doing me a floor plan and he's doing me some all right photos, so he's going to do it cheaper, so let's use him. And when that data became available, we started to look and think 4% less is what we're doing. Because obviously 20EA, you can see what they can see when a house goes on Rightmove and what it goes on Land Registry at, and they can see the performance of estate agents. So I started to look at it and I thought, we can't sustain what we're doing charging 1%. So we put...
Is that what the fee was at the time?
Yeah, fee 1%. Okay. And agents were going as low as 0.6%.
So there's going to be people listening to this that may be in that realm now. Yeah. So that was what you were looking at and you were thinking, this isn't sustainable?
Yeah, well, it can't be. You go into a race to the bottom, and if you were just doing what every other estate agent does, the absence of differentiation people always choose on fee, then I'm afraid they're going to choose on fee. So unless you're going to offer a superior product that's going to achieve the customer more money for their house, have a higher success rate, and not follow this whack it on Rightmove approach, then you're going to go down, you're just going to start the route to the bottom. And especially with the AI side of things coming along now, everything's going to be becoming even cheaper to sell. So the outcome surely has got to be getting your customer the best price for their house in a reasonable timescale and having a pleasant journey along there as best you can give them. Yeah. And that's got to be the effort. And I think that's why the age of the sort of self-employed models has come along, because you're getting that one point of contact. And I agree with a lot of parts of it. When you compare the traditional model, which we're not, and the self-employed model, it's pretty much, that's why people go down the self-employed route, because you get that single point of contact. It's good, but agents aren't doing anything different. And now it's get it on Rightmove and let you know of any viewings, and it's just not what we're about.
What goes through your mind when you listen to that?
I I actually agree. I know you might not want to hear this, but
Well, look, we've had a bit of this. We'll get to a disagreement later, but whilst we're agreeing, it's fine. It's all good.
It's you versus us.
Yeah,
no, I'm
I
joking.
usually said that before.
I agree with a lot of you're saying, and I think that it filters into what I was mentioning about like the KPIs. I think it's the incentives. A lot of those agents, are incentivized on instructions. Get a board up. It's all about instructions, and a lot of the leaders of these businesses are really, really focused on that, and less so at the bottom. So when they're going around, they've got targets to hit at the end of the week, and they know their boss is going to call them up being like, why haven't you hit your target? They're reducing their fees. They're going in with higher prices than the actual property's worth, and giving the wrong advice because they're so focused on the instruction part and they're not focused on that bottom line. So I think a lot of what you're saying filters into exactly what I think as well, just in slightly different way.
Absolutely, it's how it's approached. But I think your incentive at the end, we've got the same common goal, which is the best outcome for the customer. Not throw enough shit at a wall, some of it will stick. And I think that's the process at the moment. And you can look at, there's a corporate agent that operates up near us. 50% of the houses they put on the market do not sell.
What's subject to contract?
Do not. Yeah, if you look at the 20-year stats,
is it less than that for completion?
Yeah, completions. It's dreadful.
Wow.
And the problem is it's a great thing. You charge a decent fee, and that works, and it's a business model, and it makes money. Does it get the customer the best price for the house? Absolutely not.
So it's about reversing your mindset around what's the model for in the first place. What's the why of being an estate agent, as opposed to numbers game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, start at the
numbers
bottom.
and accountability are a good thing. So, for example, if you've got your guys and they're spread across different locations, they're very much empowered to have their own business.
Yeah.
Is it hard to control things like fees, contracts, service, communication? How does that play up in your world?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they're self-employed, so they are able to set their own fees. They're able to do incentives, whatever they want. It's their business. They're in charge of that. We've got a clause in the contract that expects a certain level of service. For us, this is still, that people, the Nested brand is still an important part of it. It's about people's personal brands and their businesses, but ultimately the brand of Nested, the people they're partnering with, is an important aspect of it too, and we want to make sure that anyone using a Nested agent up and down the country, whether it's in Wales, Scotland or down in England, are getting a really good service from the Nested agents, and so we have kind of accountability on that. So look, we don't kind of go through people's comms, and we don't kind of micromanage or anything. Whenever we get maybe the odd not so fantastic review that comes through, we really spend time understanding why that's happened. And look, we've all kind of probably experienced it in the past where customers maybe complained about something that isn't fair. Yeah. So like, it's not a case of you've got a bad 1-star review, off you go, see you later, we don't want to partner with you anymore. But it's about really making sure and understanding that we know what's happened in that situation, and we can have control with that at HQ. But actually, ultimately, really, it starts right at the beginning. When someone kind of comes through to Nested that's thinking about partnering with us, they're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing them. Okay. For us, this is a quality over quantity model. We're not here to be the biggest. I do believe that maybe in 5-6 years' time, we'll definitely be up there with the biggest. We've got a different strategy on how to get there. But for us, it's about those quality agents. It's really understanding who that agent is, why they want to go self-employed, knowing their history. Love to see the reviews of their past performances, because that gives you a lot of confidence that someone really does care about the customer. So we do that right at the beginning. So look, to answer your question, we have a minimum like service level but standard, not fees. That said, our agents are doing fantastically well with fees. Was it tempting
to kind of look at fees and go, look guys, it's 2%, 1.5%, that's it, that's all you're going to be charging? Or were you thinking that's going to limit us in terms of attracting people in different markets, different climates?
It's exactly that. So that's why we don't have like a set, you have to do this, you have to do that. It's about every area is different. So what our agent up in Glasgow charges is different to what our agent, say, in Battersea does, because they are in different markets. Their competitors are different. It's completely separate. For us, it's about sitting down with the agent and going, like, what are your goals? Where do you want to get to? And what's the best strategy to get there? I don't think that from day one, an agent has to go in and start offering the the fee that they ultimately want to be at in 3 to 6 months' time. I think there can be a journey there, and that's acceptable. When you're launching your own business and you're new in an area and you want to get your board up, that can be seen as a marketing cost, and actually maybe doing a slightly reduced fee in order to get a board up gets you presence, gets you properties you can use to have sold, as long as you've got a goal on how you're going to get there and you set your own KPIs. KPIs are important, like 100%. I'm not sitting here as a HQ team, we've got loads of KPIs.
Yeah, of course.
As a self-employed business owner, you should have KPIs. You just need to hold yourself accountable to them. You need to set them. You need to hold yourself accountable. You don't have a boss that's calling you at 5 p.m. on a Friday being like, why haven't you hit these? But if you haven't hit them at 5 p.m. on a Friday, you need to be having that conversation with yourself and being like, right, what am I going to now do differently next week to make sure that I get to where I want to get to? So don't get me wrong, KPIs are super, super duper important, but it's about the bottom line. Work out where you want to be financially, and it's about working it all the way back up to the top to inbound leads, and that's the way that I think you should see it.
Okay, well, we've got some more questions around that, but let's go on to you there, Steve. So talking about accountability and clear goals and fees, tell us a little bit more about your model around that, because you've got how many people in your overall team?
We've got 80 people across our area. We've got 11 branches. We've got Fine and Country for our patch as well. So there's 2 different brands there, but they're all under the Beercock's umbrella. But accountability is very simple. I mean, obviously we're a different model to this. Yours is the exact opposite. We're square pegs in square holes. I want the best valuers with the best experience, the best photographers, if you like, doing the front end of it. I've got the best negotiators, the people that are capable of negotiating their price and the best price for the customer, doing negotiating. I've got the completer finisher type people that are great at sales progression. So I think it's about having the best skill set for each area. So if somebody's on holiday, let's say one of my team members is on holiday, I've got 16 other people there that can help. And I think a lot of people see the advantage of using a single person and a single point of contact. You can WhatsApp them at 11 o'clock at night and they'll respond. And that's great for those type of people. But I think for a lot of people, they know that if they message a number, they won't get a response till 9 a.m. in the morning, but there's a team of 20 people that can deal with that, So my valuers, they've got to get their fee, okay? And if they get more, and if they can justify more for the customer, then their fee structure their commission structure will be based on that, okay? But they're responsible for that. We've got to look at their conversion rate, their average fee, and what deals are they having to do and why are they having to do those deals. But my believer, and I'm the more visionary in the business, I give them the best tools to use in order to achieve the best price.
This is all of the stuff that's going to help you to get there.
This
is down to you.
If you show them the stats,
Yeah.
the customer can't argue with it, because if you look at our stats, nobody gets close.
No.
So you've got the best stats out there, just deliver it in the right way.
I think so. So there's a slight can of worms that I can open now.
Okay.
Oh, you'll love that, won't you?
Just take a sip of my caffeine for the day, my one coffee.
Ooh, that's good. There's a Starbucks up the road. I'm just thinking about the self-employed agent.
Yeah.
And they have to do prospecting, marketing, videography, not necessarily that they might not outsource that, but they're certainly going to be normally around the property to help get the best videos and shots. They've got to do applicant registration, viewings, offers, agree the sale, progress it till the end.
Yeah.
Could you say that's the jack of all trades but the master of none?
Oh.
Now, I'm not saying that necessarily is the case from my perspective as the host.
No, I wouldn't say that. I love that phrase, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think they're the master of their own business in their own location, right? And there are loads of plates that you have to spin. And there is a question within the industry, and I know that some other self-employed leaders have a different opinion to me. I don't think that self-employment is for everyone.
Agreed.
Some people.
Why do you think that?
Because there's quite a few reasons. The first one is that you have to be a master of a lot of skills. Exactly. You have to be able to spin quite a few plates at the same time, and that's not in everyone's makeup.
But you get to pick the kids up at 3 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do. I mean, that's obviously a lovely perk. That's not the reason you should be going self-employed.
No.
But that is a lovely perk. So you have to be able to to spin a lot of plates at the same time. You also have to be very self-motivated. It comes back to that KPI piece, because you still have to have KPIs for your business, and you still have to push yourself and hold yourself accountable. And unfortunately, some people just work better in an environment where they've got someone pushing them. And the support we give at Nested is very much like, we're here to support you in whatever aspect that you need supporting.
It's hands off, but it's there.
Yeah, it's there, it's hands off, and it looks different from every person. That's one question I ask every single person that I'm interviewing who is interviewing us, is what support do you need from Nested? Because that person and what support they need is completely different to the person that I'm then chatting to an hour later. Yeah. So it's about really understanding what that person needs, because let's be honest, a lot of estate agents, incredible as they are at their jobs, they've not done quite a lot of the business management side because they haven't been given the opportunity to do it, because they've been finding themselves in a corporate where their role is their role. They don't get involved in marketing. You know, I think back to my John D. Wood stages where, you know, we at Easter would get something to put in the window that would say Happy Easter from John D. Wood with a little bunny rabbit on it with some chocolate spread around it. Like you would be given that from the marketing team. You know, we'd have these lovely, great ideas on things we wanted to do in our community, but it just takes so long to kind of get that through to marketing that just didn't happen.
Next year.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, oh, and you managed to get an email back. Exactly. And there's a lot of people that have got these great ideas within these companies that just don't have the tools around them for them to go out and do that. And look, and there's some people that actually really don't care. They just want to come in. They want the phone to ring. They want to go to the evaluation. They want to do a really good job as an estate agent, but all the part to actually get them through the door, they don't want to do. And if you don't want to be going out and knocking on doors, if you don't want to be going out and leafleting when it is chucking it down with rain, then the self-employed model isn't for you. You're building a business. It's hard graft. You've been there. Your family have been there. You don't just open up your laptop and leads come flooding in.
Do you think that's a bit of a problem that's being perceived, or not problem, but it's being perceived? Let me rephrase that. That's the perception that's sold. I think it's a bit of mis-selling, because actually I've spoke to one of the clients that I mentor this morning. I mean, he's an incredible agent. He's got over 35 properties, over £700,000 just in his one business. And, you know, he's constantly feeling under pressure, whether it's through clients or just running the day-to-day of the business. So he's at the minute, his biggest challenge is wearing so many hats.
Yeah, okay.
And just coming back to the same kind of a slightly different perspective on the other side. If you're a client and you come out to value my home and I think, I just want you to sell it, Steve. You've got a great idea. I love it. I love what you're talking about. And then you hand me over to somebody else. Is there a lot of challenges around that for you with regards to making sure that the consistency remains in that area? And how do you manage that type of performance? Because someone's bought into someone and then they've disappeared.
And that's the hardest bit.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, McDonald's are the classic of it. You know, you could go into McDonald's in Spain and the Big Mac's the same as what it is down the street. It's to get that consistency across your brand is the hardest part.
Yeah.
But it's so when you're sat with a customer and you're making, you know, promises, one of our rules is the valuer has to give his mobile number out to the customer. They have it on the card. But do you know how often if I go out, which I don't do as many valuations as I used to, but if I go out, do you know how many calls I get from my customers or WhatsApps? Extremely low, because I set the stall out with them. This is your team member. They're available to you 9 till 5. I'm in and out of appointments. I'm seeing this customer in and out of meetings. So these are the people you contact with. And my team is so well trained and so bought into the way we do it.
Because I still think there's pros to both. There's obviously cons to both. Right, and you know, I totally get it.
There's no cons to self-employment. What are you talking about?
We're going to come on to that. But in essence, you know, they've bought into you. You've passed it across. So there's a lot of process and kind of like information that needs to be shared with that next person who picks it up. Because I can only imagine when you're out there, you're finding out the smaller things in life. You're understanding those nuances with that property. And there's a lot of things that then, do they have to repeat, or how do you kind of process that across?
Well, people have already bought into a lot of. I've got quite a large Instagram following. Our company has got quite a large Instagram following.
Very good, mate. I must say.
So I do a lot of stuff like that. So a lot of people know me before I come into the houses anyway. And
do you think it's part of that attraction? You've already they've already bought into the to the brand and what you do and why you do it, and you're just there literally.
Your job's not, as Mark Burgess would say, not fuck it up when you get through the front door, you know. And
as Mark would say.
Yeah, as he would say. And it genuinely, if you can get your product, what you do and how you do it differently, and the outcome for the customer together, and if you can justify, this is the way I do it and these are my results, they can't argue against the results.
No.
You know, so it's about having a product that's different. And I'm afraid the whole come down, do some nice load of photos, maybe you'll get a giraffe 360 or whatever and whack it on Rightmove. That will sell houses, but it won't get the best price. I think it was my Rightmove agent a few months ago said to me something like, and don't quote me on this, but approximately...
Make sure we quote him on this.
80% of reduced houses on Rightmove will go on to sell for 5% less than the last price it was on at.
Yeah.
That, when people see reduced,
Yeah.
they think, what's wrong with it? Or let's lowball them.
Absolutely.
Right? People want what everyone else wants, and they don't want what no one else wants.
So you kind of do a lot of the kind of like, sorry to pick into your model with a bit more detail here, but is it something that you set up like a open house or a scheduled block of viewings to create that demand and go slightly under the market price to drive it up? Is that what you're saying? Or
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, for me, it's... Before you got in the shower, I know this is going to sound weird, but before you got in the shower this morning, right, you put your hand in, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yet with your biggest tax-free asset, you're just shoving it on the internet,
Yeah.
right? So make sure the price is right first. So we're lucky, and we've developed over our CRM that we use, we've got over 25,000 people that have registered and qualified themselves with us, okay? So I will pre-market my houses to my database and gauge the interest first.
How long do you do that for?
Week or 2 weeks, depending on the interest we've had.
Yeah.
But that's because I've got the database. Nobody locally is adding people on mailing lists anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, who rings up estate agents now and say, can you put me on your mailing list?
Yeah.
They won't have to speak to an estate agent, do they? So you've got to give them a reason to speak to the agent.
Yeah.
But a lot of agents say, oh, yeah, we'll do that. But with their CRM where you've got to manually add them, no one wants to do that. I mean, when people join our business, a lot of people, I say, you've got to go around all the other estate agents and get yourself put on the mailing list. And 90% of the local agents say, oh, just go on Rightmove.
Yeah.
Just
Do they really?
You just
Wow.
go, everything's on Rightmove. It's like flipping. So that's what we're up against, and that is why, and that's where I believe, I know this goes against your estate agency showdown, that's why I think there'll be agents like ours where it's about data and pre-marketing, and there will be the other people that hold your hand through the process and do what these guys do. And I think, as Alice does, and I think that's, there's going to be two camps with it, and I think
agree.
it's going to head that way.
I think there's and the middle's getting sucked into oblivion.
100%.
Yeah.
So just on that,
Average is
You
going to be
need
eaten
someone
up
in the
by
middle here right now, don't you?
AI is going to eat
trying
up
to think
average.
if I should have got on. No, but I think, look, the idea of these discussions is you're sharing different perspectives to get to the outcome.
Yeah.
And I like that, because actually it's not about you creating war on this podcast, although that would be quite nice. But I see the challenges both sides, and I see the wins both sides. And I think you're right, depending on the client, what do they need and want, it will very much dictate who they actually end up choosing as well.
Estate agency locally, for me, there's nobody other than EXP that's operating. When you look at their stats, they're dreadful, you know, compared to where ours are.
We don't have a nested agent in that area.
And I was just about to say, there's operators like yourself, the Avocados of this world, that are doing the self-employed model very well, you know. But it's...
What do you think they do very well? There you go. That's a nice question, isn't it?
I think marketing works quite... I think the marketing's very, very good. And I think it's that hold your hand through the process, one point of contact. Here's my WhatsApp number. I'll be sat on my sofa at 8 o'clock at night and I'll respond to you. Yeah. That's something that they offer. Whereas we've got, well, if they go on sick or they're unwell or whatever, you're covered, you know. So I think there's different types of people out there that really want the hand-holding, which my team do, but it's more of a team that's handling you as opposed to a single point. Yeah.
With your model, Alice, how long has it been running in this format?
In this format, outside of London, since February 23.
So not that long?
No, so we trialled it in London initially. It's where we had the most presence, and we worked with a select few agents to really define our model, what we offered them, what they needed from us, and the financials around it. And then in February 2023, we launched it outside of London and started taking people on from there.
So I work with a lot of people that have started their own businesses, and they're very much in a similar sort of stage to, by the sounds of it, a lot of your agents would be. And I see some of them in year one, and they're like absolutely on fire, and they're sniffing every opportunity out there. They're working their network. They're doing all of the graft that you mentioned, and they're putting themselves out there as well. So we can come back to personal brand. Yeah. You see them in year 3, and they look fucked because it's very hard to keep that up on your own. Yeah. What's the strategy for growing their businesses within your business?
Yeah, it's a good one. We've got a few agents that are coming up to that stage now. It's like the what next. Yeah. They've done a great job. They've exceeded their earnings in terms of what they were earning before. You don't want to burn out. And I think the thing that
it's easy to do it, isn't it?
It is easy to do.
I mean, I feel like burnout sometimes, and I'm not even doing that job all the time.
Exactly. Same. But I think the key thing is here to know is if you are thinking about the self-employed route either now or in the future, and this is the right path for you, to know that it's not a case of great, I run my own business now, I get to go to the golf course at 10 o'clock every morning and tee off and do like 9 holes. Like, you need to be working hard. The hours are not dictated to you, but you need to be doing those hours. But it's really, really important. And that's where I think Nested we come into our own in terms of the support. I've had conversations with so many agents over the course of their from when they started to where they are now, where they've dipped and they've had low times. One of our best performing agents, I remember it so well, best performing agent, he's done incredibly well. His wife's just come into the business. She's given up her full-time job now to help with all the admin stuff. He called me, I was in Boots, I was buying, something in Boots, and he was almost so close to quitting, so close. And he was probably about a year in, doing well, but was at that kind of crunch point. And that crunch point comes, for some people, it comes at 6 months. For some people, it comes at a year. For some people, it comes at three years. It's about making sure you've got the support network behind you whenever that comes, because it will come.
Do you kind of talk about that at the start as to this point will come? Because inevitably it will do if you do well. Yeah. In fact, the better you do, that comes quicker, and the pressure gathers quite fast because your name's normally associated with the brand. They just want Alice. They don't want somebody else. Yeah. And it's a big challenge.
Yeah, sorry. No, go on. Oh, who's going to go?
So what happens if those guys go on holiday? So you've got a husband and wife situation. Yeah. They go on holiday. What happens?
Yeah. So with that couple as an example, they've got a couple of other local agents that are in the next areas to them that cover their stock. So we've got a tech structure which basically allows inquiries to filter through to other agents.
And so viewings can be booked, offers can be taken.
And they agree with themselves if they were to do a viewing for them whilst they were on holiday, what percentage they would give. It's their business, it's their 75%/100%, depending on where they've capped. It's their decision on what they decide to do. So if they take a holiday, they're going to obviously take a hit because one of their neighbouring agents is going to sell something, let's say, and then so in effect they're taking a major pay cut if they're not at work when they're self-employed. So it's not just taking the day's holiday; they've got to earn the income. Well, they won't be earning the income because they won't be seeing the houses. It all does depend. Some agents decide to just cover for free. We've got culture for us. We haven't spoken about it yet. Nice. Really, really massive for us at Nested. It's about helping each other. The brand of Nested, everyone really has bought into that, cares about that. I know that the guy down in Battersea gives a really good experience and the guy in Glasgow gives a really good experience. That's really super important because people in Glasgow have friends in Battersea, right? And that can affect other people's businesses. So for us, with culture, it's all about making sure that everyone feels like they're actually part of something. It's not just 100%. Them. They're part of something. So we do have agents that offer to cover for free. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. There are some that say, can you cover my inquiries while I'm away for a week? I'll give you 10% if anything comes through. Yes, that's a loss for them, but it's really important for the upside, which is that you get a break. And there are some people that just say to their customers, I'm going to be away for a week, I'm going to be managing the inquiries whilst I'm away. They deal with those inquiries, they deal with the offers because it's $9,000 to them rather than £900, and they will pick up that phone and they will do some work on holiday. Taking a break is really important, having that downtime so you don't burn out. Again, it's your business. You run it how you want to run it. And then you've got the Nested support at the same time. We answer phones. We can help with that part.
So that helps the overload as such.
And I think as for us, we have the square pegs in square holes, which is the exact opposite of where you guys are. But, if there's a valuer that's on holiday, then the other valuer covers his photography and take on appointment. because he's got to set the stall out because he's going to help. They're going to help each other when they overlap. So it's very sort of similar setup. But if one of our sales progressors, and we've got about 7 of them now, one of those is on holiday. There's another 6. The load it's absorbed. It's manageable, you know. So it's how we deal with that. I just always. My concern with the self-employed model is always, you know, if you're used to dealing and you've signed up for the main reason why you signed up with those guys is because you're going to deal with Mr. Smith from day to one, from day 1 to day 150, and then suddenly they're on holiday and you're pulling your hair out, and that's always been my concern over it.
Yeah, so it is a valid concern.
Yeah.
It's a valid concern, and it's something that you've got to be really mindful of when you're coming into self-employed space. Like, what is your plan for when you go away, and you know, and make decisions on who you partner with based on that as well.
Yeah.
Just on the I'm loving this. This is kind of nice,
Yeah.
but there's a clear difference.
You really want to spice it up, don't
Well,
you?
no,
Yeah.
it's not my style. So the thing that I kind of feel there's a lot of pressure on earnings for a self-employed agent because it is their sole. So much of their income is derived from the sale and completions and the success. How do you see, like, in the first 2 years of running, 2.5 years of running this new model, how do you see the success timeline? Is it a year, 18 months, 2 years compared to what they were earning before?
Yeah.
What's your trend around that?
Yeah, good question. So I think broadly, as a self-employed sector of our industry, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on that, because for what one person wants to earn, again, is completely different to what another person wants to earn. With Nested, we are a territory-based model. Yeah. So with our model, you have an area that's protected, that's yours, that's your responsibility to go out, build your business in under the Nested brand, under your personal brand, and that's your protected territory. No one can come in and piggyback off your success, or, you know, do a really bad job, and unfortunately, like, all the work you've done, you've built up, has kind of been crushed overnight. So for us, once we've put someone in that location, we can't put anyone else in that location. So for us, it's about making sure we put someone in whose goals are to financially exceed probably where they're currently earning. So we are a model that is really kind of based on someone earning quite a lot of money in that area and in that location. If you want to be doing one sale a month, like, we're probably not the right fit for you, and there are other models out there that are. So when it comes to, like, the financials, again, it looks different from area to area for us, but really it's about, like, what are your goals in month 1 to 3, what are your goals in month 3 to 6, what are them 1 to 2, and how are you thinking about scaling your business in the future. And again, there's not a right or wrong answer there, but really with this self-employed model, you should be exceeding your earnings, and I'm not going to say double your earnings, but you should definitely be exceeding whatever you're currently earning as a valuer or as a branch manager in that current location. That's ultimately the goal, right? To almost double. To get you there, though, you have to take a step back. You're not going to be at day one earning the money that you were earning in your last paycheck, because you're now self-employed, and there is time that it takes to get there. But ultimately, your goal is to be exceeding the earnings quite substantially. And when I look at our agents that have been on the Nested platform for longer than a year, you can really see that trend. And
what do they do well? Those particular agents, because you mentioned personal brand, we've touched on it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I don't think people realise that actually to build your personal brand, it's a lot of investment, time, and obviously money, because you're going to be generally, you know, producing content. Yeah,
and it's the confidence as well. Again, coming back to the question of, is self-employment for everyone? It's not, and like you are. I mean, like, you've done a really good job at your personal brand. So have you, Steve. And
thank you, Alice.
Thank you, Alice. You're so nice.
It's very warm and fluffy now.
This is your chance to say that I have too.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
Thank you. But it's really hard at first, and putting yourself out there, it is tough. And
did you find that yourself?
Yeah, 100%. And
because you came from outside, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in the industry 10 years. I can't remember now.
Longer than that. Like,
I might be wrong. I'm probably completely wrong. 15
years.
That was an old podcast I probably listened to. So 15 years in the industry. And when did you start to put yourself out there and set that example to your agents?
It was in Feb 2023 when we launched
So
Nested
so
as a
come
self-employed
alongside
model.
that.
Yeah, and like shout out to Russell Quirk, because he's
Oh,
the guy. I know he's been on your podcast. He's the guy that really pushed me on this
Did he?
side. Yeah, really did, and I'm really glad that I listened to his advice, because I think if I hadn't, I think that. I don't think Nested would be where it is today. We've still got growth, and we still got way to go, a little way to go. But it's really down to kind of like him pushing me to push myself forward, to really enable the brand, and to show my agents this is what I've done, and this has helped Nested over the last 2 and a bit years. This is what you now need to be doing to help you grow your business in your area.
So pushing does work. Accountability does work.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Okay, so your agents, do they have accountability around building their personal brand? So is it something that they resist like you did before you?
We've got a few that don't. I don't think that you have to do social media to build. And the reason
it's a bit of a means to an end, isn't it? It's one of those kind of, God, I've got to do it, but I don't really want to do it scenarios. Yeah,
and you don't have to. And the reason I'm confident in saying that, again, people might disagree, is because we've got agents that are successful that don't. But there's, and you've had Kirsty and Simon on the podcast already, so I won't go in. They know more than I do. But when it comes to marketing, it's about brand awareness and then lead generation. They are two separate things. Brand awareness is the social media side. If you're starting 100%. To do videos on social media, you're not going to get loads of leads overnight. No, but if you are, years, it does take a while. But I always say to agents, like, obviously with this difference between our models is that our agents don't have a shop front. So I always say to agents, this is your shop front. This is your opportunity to showcase what you're doing. When that leaflet drops on someone's letter, on their doormat, it's got a 30-second shelf life. If they see your Instagram account or a QR code that quickly links, they might quickly have a look at your social media. They might not. Most likely it's going to go in the bin. That's brand awareness. It's kind of in your head. Door knocking is lead generation. Knocking on doors, saying in a really respectful way, notice you've been on the market for X amount of time. My name's Alice, like local estate agent in your area. Just wanted to hand you over this. Best of luck with everything. I hope it all goes well. No, you don't. And then no, secretly you don't. And then you get a call, and door knocking is lead generation. So there's loads of like brand awareness and lead generation are two completely separate things. Social media is really important for the brand awareness. It's your shop front. It's the chance for you to showcase what you're selling, how you sold it, what you sold it for. It's a chance for them to really know who you are. And that's where the personal branding really does make a big difference. You don't have to do it. You can go out and knock on loads of doors and not do the social media and still have a good business. But ultimately, I think it's a mix of both.
What were you thinking when Alice was talking about that? Did you have anything spring to mind? Because you were kind of nodding your head there, Steve.
Do you know what? I totally agree with it. I think for us as a business, I got in front of the camera sort of 3 years ago.
Is that what it was?
It's horrible.
Oh,
I hated it. And you know what? I started filming, started standing outside of houses, introducing houses, being a bit daft, being a bit silly, but it gained traction. But then I had people requesting them, people wanting them, and there was a level where I just thought, I cannot do this. I'm at a point, and we just employed a videographer full time called Daryl. He does a great job, and and what we started to say, we need other people doing these videos, and the whole company absolutely shit themselves because no one wanted to get in front of the camera. Nobody wanted to. So you had to get the one that was most willing to do it, and we had to tap into that, and then everybody got involved in it. And now I've got people joining our business. And they're starting, or some people join our business and go, I want to work with you, but I don't want to do a video. That's how well known we are for it. But now the teams, that particular person I'm using, she literally did a video this week for the first time. She's only been with me 2 weeks. So the getting in front of the camera just shows and it's not just about attracting buyers or just brand awareness. The people that work for us were attracting other agents think, well, Beercocks are doing something different. So when we put an advert out for a position attraction. When we put an advert out for a position now, most of the applications are from other estate agents, so we're getting the pick of the bunch. Now, we pay well compared to other estate agents, but that's because we charge a bit more. So you charge a bit more, you get better people, a better outcome for your customers. And it all sort of rolls like that. Whereas if we're just going to try and do it on this worst paid industry type thing in sales, then we're going to have problems, and you're going to end up not with the best performers there, and people aren't as motivated, and that's not doing us the best for the customers, you know. So our angle's slightly different, but it arrives at the same input. Brand awareness, not just to sellers, but also to quality individuals to work with.
Is there a part of you, sorry Matt, I was
No,
going
this
to
is
take
what I
over,
said. You
take over as host
No,
now.
you can do that.
Is there a part of you that's worried about some of those individuals moving towards self-employment and maybe becoming your competitor in 2-3 years time?
More what, the listers and the managers?
Yeah, like good agents happy to get in front of the camera.
I
Does
think
that concern you?
it does. As some people, do you know what? A lot of my biggest competitors, we trained, worked for us, you know. So they are. I've got no issue with people doing that. When people work with us, they might have big visions that are bigger than Beercock's. But what we now do, if you create a good culture, a great place to work, people don't want to move on. And because house values in Hull aren't particularly high compared to the rest, so if you're charging what, as we do, 1.5+% on a 200 grand house, the numbers have got to stack up for them, and they've got a lot of numbers to do. Whereas down south, you've got a lot less numbers to do for the same sort of income. So I think the model that we have works a lot better. And I think if you look at the self-employed model where we are, it's struggled a lot. So yes, I do worry sometimes.
Is that because you've really got something very clearly beneficial to the individual working within your business? Because actually, I think there's a lot to be said about security. There's a lot to be said about, you know, when you finish. There's a lot to be said about working in a high energy team. And there's a lot to be said about you're in control of your own freedom and growth of your business.
Yeah.
It's a personality type. It's the different types of people. Some people want to feel like they're running their own business. Some people want to be a part of a team.
If you're watching this, though, I'm probably doing. I'm always thinking of who's watching, and I'm thinking, you know, don't be railroaded into something that doesn't fit alongside or inside of your strengths and the things that you want to go and do and achieve.
I think a lot of the self-employed models are selling the dream. I don't think you're one of them, by the way, but there's some of the bigger ones.
Not what you said before.
They're selling the dream, and they're not looking at the bit, and it should it bothers me.
But they're selling numbers, right? That's how I see it, and I think this is where we've got to be really careful, because, you know, I mean, I know some are doing sort of loans, commission up front and so on and so forth. And I'm kind of curious to see how that pans out.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you're saying we want people that are hungry to do well, come in and, you know, they've got to be that kind of type. And on the other hand, saying, but we're going to help you out along the way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look,
and is that a mixed message?
Full transparency. We have a loan system.
I know.
Which
I've listened to your
you
podcast with Russell and
Yeah.
Russell.
We do have a loan system in place. It's for the first 6 months only.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, it's a safety net. It's a fallback plan.
Yeah.
You should have your own savings.
I had a loan. A friend lent me money when I started.
Yeah, and look, some people end up going to, you know, we run any business in any industry. If you're starting from scratch, I mean, tell me a business that you're earning money from day one. Maybe
certainly not a estate agency, is it? Let's be honest.
You know, you're not. There is that build-up phase, and you know that is why banks give loans out for businesses, because that's what a lot of people need. So, but I always say with our loan facility, it's the first 6 months. It's effectively upfront commission on instructions. We don't give it out unless people are getting instructions. So it's based on the instructions they're bringing. So we know that, you know, there is money coming through, so people aren't taking loans that they can't pay back. That's a really important part. Yes, that there are some other models that have different styles and how that works, and forever advanced commission, all of that. Ours is a loan. We are expecting you to pay it back. It's a fallback plan. It's a safety net. It's to help you through the first 6 months.
So that's the difference between that and, let's say, the advanced commission model.
Yeah, I think
because if you list really well in an advanced commission model, I don't know the full ins and outs, but that's quite lucrative, isn't it? In the early stages.
And I always said it kind of in this podcast already, but like for this is you're building a business not for 6 months, not for a year, for 2 years. Don't be picking a self-employed model just because they give you some money up front. And the same with Nested. Don't be coming to us just because we have the loan facility. You want to be finding a partner to partner with for the longevity, for longer than that time, and you do not want to be relying on other people's money to help you fund that. You want to become self-funded ASAP. that is a really, really important part. And look, just coming quickly back and a bit of a tangent, but coming back to the reason I asked you that question is that about whether you're worried about people that, you know, are obviously clearly doing a very good job within your business and whether they're going to go, actually, do you know what, I want to do it for myself. It's because I'm speaking to people where this is in their 2 to 3 year plan. Like I'm having just initial conversations where people are like, I'm not ready yet, financially I'm not ready. I don't feel like I'm at that point in my personal life or financially to go out and do it, but I know that I want to do it and I know that I want to get there. And that's where I think it's a very exciting time for our industry, because it is.
So what's the percentage of agencies that are self-employed these days? Do we have
I actually don't know. Maybe
about
need to have that as at the
5%?
bottom, find out the number and have it.
But I hear people talking about 25, 30, 35, 40%.
No, not round me.
No. But it's interesting because what's happening quite quickly is a lot of estate agents are pivoting their own models. I think something within that.
I personally believe all the local agents that have gone down the self-employed model have left crap agents, you know, where they can do better. They're
not earning enough.
They're not earning enough. They're not enjoying. There's not a good culture at the business. They're not happy really there. They're going in there. They're having the sandwich at 12 o'clock for an hour, or even if they get a chance to do that, and it's just following this thing. Whereas with us, if you create a great place to work, we give people variety in what they do. We're creating that culture which is more enjoyable, but with security.
So is that the challenge, like reinvention? Because your business is established for
100%.
quite a number of years, and it could be tempting to sort of stay in the past and rely on legacy. But actually, what you're doing, it feels to me, and what I'm hearing is there's a lot of innovation and reinvention and refreshment. How do you do that?
The way our family is one of the best dynamics you could have. We scrap regularly, but I tell you what, my dad was the visionary back in the day.
Yeah.
My stepmom get shit done. There's no flies on her whatsoever.
So he's got the idea, she implements the ideas if she thinks they're good.
But my dad's 70 now, so he's sort of taken a back seat. He just loves the fine and country stuff. He values 4 days a week still. Loves it on the road.
I love
values
that.
all the top end stuff. And that's what he wants to do. And he says to me, I don't want any of that shit. So
That's
all
yours.
of that side of things me.
Yeah.
So now I'm
So it
developing.
feels to me like that's like you're now taking it forward with your vision, your ideas.
Yeah, but I couldn't do it without my stepmom in the background dealing with it.
Yeah.
She's got an assistant called Emma who's outstanding at what she does as well, being trained. My stepmom's her mentor. It's about that, again, square pegs in square holes. You know, if you just left it to those guys, then things would be different. If you just left it to me, it'd be a shit show. You know, I need people to implement the stuff that needs doing.
When was Beercock's founded?
We started in early 90s, but my dad he sold that in the 80s to the Prudential. And did quite well, and then before that my dad bought it off my granddad, so it goes back even further. So it's Beercock's in itself was starting one night, but we've merged, we've taken over quite a few estate agencies over that time as well.
But I think we're in a world of adaptation and agility. And I think obviously self-employed, you can be more agile.
Well, and the reason I was asking that question was because for me, and this is why it's exciting, it's an exciting era of our industry coming up, I think, because those estate agents back in the 90s when Beercock's was established, they didn't have the estate agents didn't have the opportunities that they have now. We're not someone asked the question to me the other day about what's changed, like why is self-employment becoming, more of a buzzword? And I think the big one is the barrier to entry in terms of the financials now is so much lower than it was back in the 90s. I think estate agents back in the 90s, they were still extremely driven, extremely entrepreneurial, but they didn't have the ability to set up.
The newspapers.
The financials around it. And, even just there's been other things, post-COVID, there's, our world is changing with AI and all the tools that are out there. There's loads of kind of change within our landscape. But the biggest thing is, I think, the self-employed and the US style of models that have come over to the UK now that kind of started all of this sort of 5-6 years ago have kind of really established the low barrier to financially being able to kind of enter into this space. You don't need to be paying high franchise fees. You do not need to be having a high street office. I don't know what you think about that, Steve, but like you don't need all of that in order to be actually running your own estate agency business now. And I think that's the really exciting like trend that we're now on.
But is the threat that it will become about model hoppers? So you're a self-employed agent, I'm going to get 80% over there, 90% over there, you know, or up front for a year, or...
But it depends if they do it well and how the contracts are set up, surely. So, you know, you've got a mortgage advisor that works for XYZ mortgage brokers, and they're working for them for XYZ amount of years, and they go and work for another. They've got all those leads and customers in their database, just like we've got all the database. So with you guys, if somebody moves on, it's you guys that have got the database that you're going to be nurturing, I'm assuming. Yeah. So I think, yes, if somebody jumps model, I think you need to get your model right if you're going down this route, because they own the data, I'm assuming.
So
they couldn't just go, we're not going to call this.
That's a great question. One that it did cross my mind as you were just talking about that. Is that
so? In our contracts, it's that we share the data.
Okay.
So if they want to call themselves John Smith Estate Agents and not pay you a commission anymore, then how does and not pay you anymore? I've established my name well enough now, and I'm off. I'm off.
They're allowed to do it. They give us a 1 month's notice, and they are allowed to go off to another model
and take all those customers with them and the data.
So the customers that are on the market, no, they're in a contract that is nested and that person. But for customers that they have been talking to prior, they are within their rights to go to another model and service those customers through that other model.
And are you entitled? Let's say you were going to give that patch to Daphne. Is Daphne allowed to ring that?
That's a great name, by the way. I haven't heard that for about 20 years.
Yeah, it's quite like that. We'll have to see in like 3 months.
Where did you come up with Daphne, Alice? Well, actually, the guy I was supposed to be arguing with on the podcast, he came up with it.
But if Daphne went into that patch, has she got right to use that data to nurture herself?
No, Nested has the right to to do that.
And then
we don't just pass customers' data to an agent to agent, but as Nested, we have the right to then nurture that and decide what we want to do with that data. It's a shared look. You've got
to protect yourself. It makes perfect sense.
Of course, it's a brand, but it's also as well like protecting our agents too. You know, if you partner with Nested, we don't just and you decide to go elsewhere for whatever reason, you just go back to employed, whatever it is that you decide to do, we're not stopping you from your next thing. Right. And financially as well, and the business that you've built up. I think every model is slightly different.
Am I right in thinking though, Alice? Let's say it's me, right? And I'm in my town and my area, and I've been with Nested for 2 years. I've got my pipeline, I've got my clients. I'm out there in that, you know, it's Matt Giggs Nested. Yeah. It's got a good ring to it.
It does actually, yeah. I've got a contract in my bag.
Then I think, do you know what? I just don't need to worry about the 75%. I could just do this myself.
Yeah. You can.
You just do it yourself.
You can, yeah. You can. That hasn't happened to us. Which
you're still new though, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Look, we're still three. What was it? 23. Oh God, my.
I think you're 2.5.
This is the baby brain. 2.5. Even the agents that we trialled it with in London before then are still with us. So like yes, you can go and do it yourself. And look, that might be your choice. That might be the people that I'm speaking to now that are like, oh, and this is my 2-year plan. Their 2-year plan might be to come to Nested, but their 6-7-year plan might be to go and do it by themselves. That's absolutely fine, and that's completely okay.
Then you could go, well, okay, Matt, you've done that. Thanks for building the brand of Nested. We're going to...
Yeah, like Nested
we can now bring somebody else to take over.
We can then
it's
do
a win-win.
That. Yeah, it absolutely is.
I'm being really kind there, aren't I?
You are. It is absolutely a win-win. We don't hold anyone. I know there are other models that hold people account like for 2 years or so.
Is that
we
right?
don't. It's 1 month. If you decide that you want to give us notice and you want to go off and do it, you can do that.
So I think I think the self-employed models are going to be arguing with each other soon.
I think we already are.
Probably are.
In a friendly way, I think we will.
The independent innovators, is that right?
Yeah.
Are they kind of cutting their thrust? They're agile enough, but structured enough. They have systems and processes, people to fit into the square pegs, square holes, and they're kind of doing their thing with the use of AI and marketing tech and all of those different things. But it feels like today, what I've kind of took out of today so far is that if you're in between either of these places,
you're fucked.
Yeah.
Long term.
That's a great fucking clip, that. And that Alice, the the biggest future for your business
Yeah.
is making sure that yours is because I heard you say on one of the podcasts that you want the best agents, but everyone wants the best agents.
Yeah.
And I think you said that they need to have some experience in the industry.
Yeah.
If I'm right in remembering.
Yeah, that's right.
Do listen.
They have to have property related experience. We have taken a few people on who have owned or still own mortgage companies.
Yeah.
We've got a great guy down in Southampton, incredibly well. I mean, his first month, I think he got like 10 properties on the market. But he's got a mortgage business. He's got someone that he has brought in for Southampton to do the valuing for him. And that's worked really well.
It folds into his
it
business.
folds into, exactly. Yeah. So you don't, in order to partner with Nested and take a territory, you don't have to have direct estate agency experience, but you still have to have a good plan on how you're going to build up a brand and your business in that location. And that's why every person is different.
I think just that coming to, with estate agents, there's the shiny object syndrome, or whatever you want to call it, like magpies, and that they see this self-employed thing take off, which it has done. I mean, I went to the US 7 years ago with Keller Williams to look at opening a marketing centre in Milton Keynes, which was where I was a corporate director, and I didn't in the end.
Why didn't you?
Well, they had this spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet just didn't make any sense.
Okay.
And if I'm honest, I looked at the spreadsheet and thought, well, if that doesn't make any sense, the spreadsheets that I've got make sense. We're already making really good profit, and we're building a culture.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, building a culture, you touched on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really difficult.
It is.
To maintain. It's difficult. It's easier at the start. It's harder in the middle. But when you come out the other side, which it sounds like you've done, it's something that you have to still maintain moving forward. So certain value standards, those kind of things are really, really, really critical. But what I get the feeling with the kind of way in which self-employed's developing is that you've got this marketplace which is interested in it. As existing estate agents have kind of creating mini versions of everything within their model. What do you think of that? Because let's say Gigs & Co. we're going self-employed now because we want to retain the listers, and they're doing really well. Don't want them going to Nested or EXP, and that they're making those decisions. Does that then squeeze the opportunity tighter into terms of attracting those people out of those models?
Sorry, I don't quite understand the question.
So let's say an existing estate agent, they're employed only, traditional. They're then thinking, well, I don't want to lose Steve. Yeah. I'm going to do a self-employed version for Steve, and you can take the brand with you.
Well, I would say that our valuers are not the type of people that would...
So it comes back down to being really clear.
If you put me in a situation, or some of the listers we have are the best in the city by a country mile. They don't draw floor plans. Yeah. They don't have to do descriptions, type descriptions up.
They're experts in that area.
Everything is done for them. They literally get their iPad in the morning and everything they need, comparable evidence, everything is put together for them, so they walk into the house and deliver our process and our strategy. Okay? So they don't have all that work to do. So then suddenly they've got to draw the floor plan on thingy, or they've got to do all that. Forget it. That's just not what they made. They have got everything done, because our belief is what is the point of paying him X, Y, Z per hour when we could pay somebody less to do type up. But these guys, when you see people, when we've just bought another estate agency last year, we took the value on it. It was like, so what about this? No, that's all done for you. All you've got to do is press a button here, send that to the office, press that, send that to the office, and we'll sort the rest. All you've got to do is focus on looking after the customers, delivering what we do, and getting to as many appointments as possible. Some of our valuers will value 85 and on a busy time 100 houses a month.
There's that Branson quote, isn't there, about looking after your people well enough so that they stay, but that kind of mentality of making sure that they're doing the job that they enjoy the most. They're not going to be wanting to go and do something else and do the whole thing.
Our valuers will probably earn nearly double what our nearest competitors' valuers get paid.
Okay,
they get paid well.
That does slightly sound quite robotic to me, and I would argue that
it
maybe...
took an hour and 10 minutes to get to this discussion.
Get this robot out.
Focus in on this.
I would maybe argue that there are some people where they'd be like, after a while, okay, I'm bored of this now. I want to get involved in this. I want to, I want to expand my horizons. I want to do photography. I want to get involved with that, and I want to get crunching into the numbers, and I want to be part of the business plan, the business planning. Like, that's exciting. Like, that's the really like cool, sexy stuff, right? Going in and just having an iPad and going in and just delivering evaluation day after day after day after day, like 100, like you said. I think for some people, they'd get to a point where like, okay, the what next?
I don't disagree. And those, if you look at some of my top competitors are people that have used to work for us, and good on, because I think you need a running mate. So people have worked for me and they go, I can do what Beercock's do and I'll do it cheaper. Great.
I think you're very forward. You're very forward thinking, which I think is great.
It's great for the view. Well, both of you are, and I think there's a lot of value there that we're talking about. But do you find, you said robotic, I thought you was going down a slightly different route, but I'm going to test this one out with Steve. Are you ready for it? You ready? Sometimes can it feel like they're so one-dimensional out there in the field that they might lose some of the other strengths that they might need to be in that appointment?
I don't think so, because when I said to you they just go out on the list, I mean, all the boring bits that nobody likes doing is dealt with, you know. So do they
prospect themselves? Do they?
Nope.
No.
They don't chase.
Do
they don't even
do they
chase.
follow up?
They don't do the follow-ups.
Okay. So do you have like somebody else do
We've got expert. The team that are going to be looking after them will follow up, and quite sometimes they will do. But quite often when we review whether our pricing is right on a house, once we've tested the price, my team every Wednesday, all the valuers every Wednesday at 9 a.m. visit their branches and they sit down for a few hours and they review all of the houses that are pre-market, that are going live, to assess. And that's where you've got the expert that's promised you everything, that is making a decision on the house. So when I go into a house, I'm like, I'm Steve Beercock, I've done the job 28 years, and when we get to the point of going live with your house, I will be sitting down with the team and they will present to me exactly how your house has performed, and then we'll decide what we need to go to market at. And you've got my expertise, not just we go in there, promise them everything and off we go, you know.
Last question.
Last question.
I think so. We've done well here. I could stay chatting on this, to be honest.
Well, we're all still friends.
We're all still friends. If you were to choose between one direction for your business, would it be people or process? People
first, for me. Internally at HQ, I'd say process. Like the team that are employed, that are there as the supportive people.
You know, when I said just say one, you've kind of slid a little kind of. I'm
going down the same route.
I
know Steve's going to say exactly the same.
Answer. I'm so sorry.
They're
both equally important for me. As I'm building Nested and I'm bringing agents in, and we're partnering with them, it's about the people, because I'm thinking longer term. I think that as in you want to work
with those people, or
I think they're going to do really well, and we're going to partner with them. We can't put anyone else in a location. Once we put someone in that location, we've got to really believe that person's going to do well, and they're going to work hard to get where they want to, and they're not just going to use us for support and not do any of the hard work themselves. I believe in 5 years' time, there's been a massive shift. Self-employment is a buzzy word, and I love it and I'm here for it, but it hasn't. I don't even think we're kind of like tipped the scale in terms of like the trajectory of this sector of our industry.
What's going? Where's it going? 5
years time, when think back to the pre-purple bricks days, right?
Yeah.
Like the online estate agent, if you walk down the high street and you said to a Joe Blogs, name an online estate agent, majority of people wouldn't have been able to have said one, right? The locals, but Purple Bricks came along and that really changed the landscape. I think that we're at that point now where if you go down Peterborough High Street and you ask your Joe Blogs, name a personal self-employed estate agency brand and business, I think the majority of people wouldn't be able to name one. I think that is going to change, and I think in 5 years' time, what I want and envision in terms of Nested is I want people to be Googling who is the best self-employed estate agent in my area, because they know what self-employment is and they understand it, and for Nested to pop up. Okay. So that's part of the longer term vision. So people, 51%.
So people,
because that is ultimately, your business and our business and how we're going to grow it to that side. But process is super duper important.
Steve-O.
I'm going to go the other one just to create drama.
Yeah. So you're disagreeing with Alice, is that right, Steve?
I disagree, but only on the 51-49%.
Okay.
For me,
I should have said that. I should have said 60-40.
first thing in 5 years' time, we won't be Googling anything. We'll be asking ChatGPT.
That's
It'll
true.
Just-
That
yeah,
is so
let's-
true.
It will just sort it out.
Yeah, I can't
and
believe
it will
I
tell me,
did.
and it will book all my appointments for
I
me.
need to
and all
ask
the
you another
estate agents
question
will
now.
turn
Go
up.
on, keep going.
Yeah.
So for me, without getting our processes correct,
Yeah.
whether it is technology process and everything, and we don't have a process for how we're going to be at the top of our SEO or ChatGPT or whatever it's going to be called, then we're not going to have a business. And those people could be the most wonderful people in the world. But for me, the market, the process has got to be there. But of course, it's the people. What we've found now, and because we do things the way we do, we're attracting the right people. So I think both are equally important. But I think without process, the people haven't got anything.
I love that. So let's just finish on this one.
Yeah.
That was the
You
penultimate.
said that on the last one,
That was
wasn't
the penultimate question. But you've been fabulous guests, and I'd just like to know, you touched on AI, and I've done quite a few episodes that relate to AI.
Yeah.
But I'm always interested to hear from other people's opinions on it. And I tend to throw Rightmove into the mix when I talk about AI, because you talked about Google, people searching Google. When people want to buy a house, where do they search?
Rightmove.
Will they change that? Or is that changing already? Is that landscape going to be different? So are people going to go to AI first?
I hope so.
I think that's it. I mean, you're going to turn around and say, look, I'm bored in my house at the moment. What I don't like is my kitchen's too small. I want a bigger kitchen. I want a loft area to put my kid because I've just realised I've got a new one on the way. Can you find out them? Can you send them all through to me?
Yeah.
And I'm free. Check my diary. I'd like to put viewings on them as well. I want around 2,000 square foot. Bang. And then it'll just sort it out.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. It'll read the floor plan, see that that's got a bigger kitchen than the other one's got, and it'll sort it all out.
There's a company already that's kind of starting to think about that or building something similar. I know
It's not nested, is it?
it's not nested. I wish it was nested. We don't know. Jitty. Have you heard of Jitty?
Yeah. Someone mentioned this the other day. It's really
So
spooky.
you go on to Jitty and you type it. You can literally say, I want the views of mountains in I don't know, Pontefract, has that got mountains?
Yeah.
Like you can literally type that in and it will show you all the properties that are on the market that have got views of mountains. Now that's like early stages, but as you said, like where are we leading to
Well,
with
it's
this?
behaviour, isn't it? It's behavioural economics. It's people's behaviours. I mean, if you go back a year, how many people were using ChatGPT? How many are using it now?
And who are using it in the right way and the wrong way? Because I mean, we could talk about this for a while, but I have quite strong views on how you utilise IA and your
AI.
sorry,
That's right.
Don't say
I'm
that.
helping you out.
Baby brain. How I've got quite strong views on how you utilise AI,
Yeah.
and like it's really obvious. I think sometimes when people use it in the wrong way, like. Coming back to personal branding, I think you can spot a mile off if someone's used
150%.
AI for a property
We talked
description
about this
or
with
for.
Kirsty and Simon, actually.
Did
yeah.
you? Okay,
Yeah.
so we won't go.
But it's good that you're seeing that as well.
Yeah,
where
it's
they're
not-
losing authenticity.
Authenticity, it's not your tone of voice, it's not who you are. The beauty about personal
lazy,
branding,
isn't
it is the beauty about personal branding is that theoretically, if someone follows you online or someone sees you online, the moment they meet you in person, whether that is a seller, whether that is another business contact, they already know who you are, and you are that
100%.
person.
think
Your
that's-
tone of voice has to come through. If I was to write all my opinions into ChatGPT and then just put out there what ChatGPT told me, you'd meet me today and you'd meet me today and be like, who's she? That's not her. So that's
You're
really
much
cool.
more impressive.
Oh, thank
100%.
you.
Chat GPT's
Thank you.
But the thing I think is fascinating is that when we talk about videos, and certainly in your model more so perhaps than yours, Steve, and I don't mean that your guys won't do that because you clearly are and you're training them, but to get your personality and your credibility, which creates the authenticity out there. Video is obviously a huge way of doing that, which then interrupts the fact that someone could then say, well, it's AI generated or whatever it is, because you can feel, can't you? I think feeling is
And you
still
could just-
important. That's the
coming
human
back to-
stuff.
coming back
that's
to
the
the
skill.
robots
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
like we've all of a sudden we've started
That was one of
developing
your
a
horrible
few
bits, but go on.
robots in our industry where people are saying the same thing. Like there's probably local competitors that are writing property descriptions that are like exactly the same as everyone else. Like don't become a robot. Like AI is going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. You should embrace it.
Yeah,
You should
because it's
definitely
helpful. I
embrace
mean,
it.
I'm
It's
not great
helpful.
at crafting my thoughts and my spoken word into
Yeah.
text.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm great at putting those prompts into
into
AI
AI.
for it to help
Exactly
me.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, just
And then put in Matt's tone or
Matt's
or a
tone
UK tone.
or UK, UK
few
UK grammar.
Americanised
I mean,
UK
it's
grammar,
the worst when you
yeah.
don't put the prompt in of UK
Yeah.
grammar, and obviously the US.
I think it's
comes up.
getting a lot better though, isn't it? You look at where
Speed
where
up.
it was. It's just getting better and better and better.
I'd done I popped your pictures into it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It came up with your one, but the person that it put in your place,
What do you mean?
God, it was awful.
What is in like what do you mean the person?
It wasn't you, obviously, but I've gone Alice Bullard
Yeah.
nested picture, and I've
In-
even uploaded your
what?
lovely picture that I shared
into ChatGPT.
into ChatGPT,
And nothing came up?
No, it came up with some complete random.
Oh, really?
And I didn't want to put that out there, so I ended up using your correct
Yeah.
profile shots
Oh, is this
yesterday.
another
for-
Alice Bullard? I've never come
If you'd
across
put my
them.
name in the late 90s, my surname, you'd have got all sorts. Honestly.
And on that note,
Honestly.
look, I hope you've enjoyed today, guys.
Yeah,
It's been
I have.
great.
Has this been your friendliest one so far?
They've always been pretty good, and even though there's slight differences of opinion and perspectives, actually, which you do have.
Yeah.
So that's the nature of the whole thing. Is we don't want people to have the same view of the world. There's a vision that you might align with, which is that customer experience. How you get there is two different models.
100%.
Yeah. I'll be looking up all your valuers after this.
She's going to be on the hunt for valuers.
Beercock's valuers, watch out.
Well, I just want to say good luck September, obviously.
Thank you.
So and thank you for, because guys, who you're watching this, these guys are travelling hours to come and make this show with us. And I was thinking this morning on the way here. I was thinking, this is new. It's not even out there. You can't even listen to it in a minute. But obviously now you would have seen that that's changed, and you've come and spent some time with us. So I really value that for both of
thank
you.
you.
So
No,
really appreciate that.
Great to be here.
So that's the end of this week's episode. I hope you enjoy it. Remember to like, subscribe, or just don't if reverse psychology works. But guys, add your comments. Send me messages about the guys that we've had on, the topics that we're sharing. And if you want to be on the show or you've got someone to recommend, please do get in touch. This has been Estate Agent Showdown. I'll see you soon.